Hello, this is Tolbert's class, biology. We're going to be studying all the chemicals and the various processes for things for life. Okay, so here we go. Here we go. So, the first lesson objective, this is lesson number 1, okay? To identify subatomic particles, their charge, their location, to understand and why atoms bond, and to identify the different types of bonds. So the smallest particle that has the property of an element is an atom. Elements are pure substances made up of one kind of atom. We have learned to break down atoms to begin to harvest their mighty power. I'm referring to the power of the atom bomb. What's on the inside? So you need to know this. Atom is made up of neutrons and protons in the nucleus. Neutrons are nucleus, protons are positive. Pro-positive, neutrons neutral, no charge. And that electron's going around the outside, and do-si-do your partner. The electron is about 1,800 times smaller than both the proton and the neutron. It has all of the negative charge. Because of the protons, the net charge of the nucleus is positive. What are the 3 subatomic particles? It is the neutron, the proton, and the electron. The electron is the smallest subatomic particle, all of the negative charge. Each element has 1 or 2 letter symbol. Here I have sodium, Na, and carbon. Atoms of an element may have different number of neutrons in its nucleus. We call these particular variations isotopes. Same number of protons, different number of neutrons. How are all the isotopes of an element similar? They're similar because they have the same atomic number or the same number of protons. They're different because they have a different number of neutrons. It takes 2 to make a thing go right. 2 or more atoms combine chemically to make a compound. A substance made of atoms or more than one element bonded together. Substances that are formed by the bonding of atoms in definite proportions are called a chemical compound. Acting as a unit, these elements form molecules. Some couples are just made for each other. How do compounds differ from the elements that make them up? Here's how. The physical and chemical properties of a compound are different than the properties of the elements that make them up. For example, if you're dealing with water made of hydrogen and oxygen, at room temperature, hydrogen is a gas and highly explosive. At room temperature, oxygen is a gas, and that also can lead to explosions. But when we get them together and we make this amazing thing called water, it has different properties. In fact, we use water to put out fires and stop explosions. So what about the electrons? So if you look at a periodic table, most of them are what we call neutral, which means the number of protons equals the number of electrons. If it doesn't have an equal number of protons and electrons, it is called an ion. An ion that is not neutral is called an ion. It is an element with a charge, or a particle with a charge. In this particular case, there are 3 protons and only 2 electrons, giving it a net positive 1 charge. This is lithium. A molecule is the smallest unit of a substance that exhibits all the properties characteristic of that substance. The smallest bear cub is still a bear. For example, bears, even baby bears, the cubs, have hair, fur, and like to eat trout, like to hibernate. Mama bear likes to do all those things. The difference is there's just a whole lot more bear to Mama. Let's review. Atom is the basic unit of matter. Nucleus is the center of an atom, which contains the protons and neutrons. The center of the atom has a positive charge. The electron is the smallest subatomic particle and is going around the outside. An isotope is the same number of protons but a different number of neutrons. A compound is a chemical combination of more than one element combined. There are several different types of bonds. One of them is an ionic bond, formed between one or more electrons when you move one or more elements. When you move an electron or transfers it, you make ionic bonds. Covalent bonds, covalent, caring, sharing. Covalent means you're sharing electrons. Here is a quick review. Atomic number is the number of protons in the nucleus. And it's also the number of electrons if it's neutral. The atomic mass is the combination of the protons and the neutrons. This is something you need to know. You need to know the orbiting field, how many electrons can be on each energy level according to the Bohr model of the atom. The first energy level can hold 2 electrons, the second can hold 8, and the third can hold 8, followed by the fourth holding 18. Things bond because they want to become stable. They're looking for a complete outer level of electrons. In the example here, it's missing 2 electrons, so we're going to add 2 so that it's happy. Those electrons on the outermost energy level are called valence electrons. Ionic bonding is when electrons are moved around, either given or taken. That's an ionic bond. Covalent bonds are bonds that electrons are shared. Metallic bonds are also shared in swarms as well. This is the end of this particular lesson.